Hi, I wanted to take a second and talk about the different types of breeders there are. Often we think of breeders as just a one and done. There's puppy mill and then there's responsible. But in reality, there's a variety of different breeders out there, and it's about time that we recognize who's who and what each of them contribute to the broad spectrum that makes up breeders and who we all are. The first type of breeder I want to recognize are private breeders. These are breeders who breed one litter or a few litters here and there. These are typically the people who limited or no health testing. These are breed for families, breed for themselves, breed just because they want a pet, they want to breed just to have a dog like their own. These are usually the most inexperienced people or the people who don't care so much about papers or testing. Now, while these sound like what most people would call irresponsible, these are also pockets of populations that can and often do preserve some diversity. Now, my recommendation to these people who do want to breed just a litter here and there or just for themselves, do your breed club recommended health testing. At least invest into the minimum health testing so that you're preserving the next generation of dogs. Whether you plan on breeding more or not, you're at least securing the generation you're producing. The next type of breeder I want to cover are hobby breeders. Hobby breeders are people who are a consistent breeder. They consistently produce litters, but they're not a full-time breeder. They're not a full-time business per se. These are breeders who still have other things that they do. They may not have litters all the time. They may skip a year. They may have a litter every year, but not at all times. These are breeders who are in it for their breed, typically, but are not a full-time breeder. They often have some experience. You can find some of the best breeders. Sometimes they're show breeders. Sometimes they're just a typical breeder who does minimal health testing. Sometimes they're as experienced as a preservationist breeder who has some of the best show dogs in the world. Just depends. Hobby breeders make up the largest portion of dog breeders out there. So never disregard a hobby breeder just because they say they're a hobby breeder. This is the largest portion of breeders out there. Hobby breeders can also be a specialty breeder. They can be a professional handler. They can be a show kennel. Hobby breeders, again, are the largest portion out there, and they're usually where you're going to find the majority of breeders. The next are mostly specialty type of breeders. You have your hunting or sporting kennels. These are specialty breeders who breed either for themselves or for a very specific purpose. These are not dogs that are just handed over to families or handed over to just anybody for a companion pet. These are dogs that are bred for a purpose. These are breeders who breed specific dogs, specific traits, for a specific purpose. These breeders know what they're doing, know what they're looking for. The next are military or purpose-bred dogs. These encompass service dogs or specialty-bred animals such as working dogs. Working dogs can be anything from a scent hound, search and rescue, PTSD, a variety of different animals. These are not your everyday companionship dogs, and these are very specialized animals, again, specific traits. And these breeders know what they're doing, know what they're looking for. These are not just everyday in and out companion pets. These breeders know what they're looking for. Next, I would like to touch on our professional kennels, show kennels. These are breeders who are in it for the show, for the competition. These are breeders who are typically in the breed clubs, rubbing elbows with the judges. They know the handlers, they know the game, they know what they're doing. These are breeders who participate, they're the high end of the dog world. These are the top of the top type of breeders, deeply involved in the pedigrees, deeply involved with the other show kennels. These are your luxury kennels. They're not your everyday pets. They're not your everyday pedigrees. They're, again, your high end. These are not your kennels that you're just going to walk in, pick a puppy, and leave. They don't usually have litters all the time. They don't just breed to any old dog. They don't just breed to any old kennel. They don't just stud out to any old dog or any old kennel. These are very, very specific kennels, specific dogs. Usually they don't produce a lot of litters. If they do, they're only available to certain people, certain kennels, certain lines, and there's a very long waiting list of very expensive dogs. Now, these last two are the two that have the most stigma to them. And I want you to clear your minds and come at this open. These are commercial kennels. Commercial kennels often are called puppy mills. Now, commercial kennels can be some of the best kennels out there. They, just like anything else, are held to a standard, held to ethics, and should be participating in the best animal welfare practices out there. There are bad ones, there are good ones, there are great ones. I have visited a few in the past, and the few I visited were good. They were clean. I was surprised. I actually was taken back. I expected to go to a place that was dirty, animals in cages. It was very clean. I really didn't know what to say to the people. I really went in there thinking I would be angry, but I left with a very good impression of the place. You have generally two types of commercial kennels. You have a small-scale commercial kennel. Typically, these are ran out of someone's home, and they have puppies all the time. Sometimes they are ran out of a actual kennel or a building where animals are housed. Most of these are USDA kennels, licensed as well as through their state, and they're ran as a business. They should be at least held to both state, USDA, and their kennel club standards and regulations. They should be inspected. Most of them are inspected annually or audited. Most of them, and when I say most of them, I mean majority of them, are clean. Their animals are kept up well, and they're sanitary. The ones you see on TV, you gotta think of the media. The media is gonna portray this the way they want you to feel. They want to stir up emotions. Small commercial kennels usually are clean facilities, healthy dogs. Most of them are nice people running a business. Producing puppies is a business just like anything else. You got to think of this agriculturally. The same as a variety of different products are produced on a demand. Puppies are the same way. For me, I couldn't do it. I like to be more personalized in how I do things. I like to be very involved with my clients. But there are people who can produce puppies on a larger scale who are more comfortable with what they do. But it's up to the breeder and how they handle their clients, how they handle their business, how they handle their kennel. For me, I'm a hobby breeder. This isn't a business to me. This is a passion. This is a lifestyle. This is more of how I breathe and live. This is, for me, this is a part of who I am. I don't run this like a business. I run this as an essence of who I am. My dogs are a branch of me. So how I do this is how it is for me. But there are kennels who are a commercial kennel, who are a business, who do large-scale producing of puppies. I am not a commercial kennel. I am a hobby breeder. There are also large commercial kennels. These are kennels who are producing over 500 puppies a year, who have many, many dogs, breeding puppies all the time. Now this is where most large kennels have multiple facilities set up throughout either the country or throughout their state, or have many people assisting them. They're not usually one singular facility with that many animals. I know one specific kennel, at least with Doberman, that has several people contracted through them. That's generally how these large commercial kennels work. They have people contracted through them who lease their dogs, produce puppies in those people's homes. That's how they usually do that. There are some who have many animals on one facility. Again, it's up to each facility how they do their program. Producing puppies en masse is up to that person, their state, and how they run their business. Majority of them, it's a supply and demand. Looking at it agriculturally, it's rearing, it's animal husbandry. It's rearing to meet a supply and demand. There are pet stores still, there are demands for puppies. Again, I like a personal touch. I want to meet people, I want to talk to them, I want to screen, I want to know where my animals are going, I want to know that this is a lifetime commitment. I don't want to see my pet in a shelter. I don't want to see the animal that I spent hours, countless hours awake all night. I want to make sure that where they're going is a safe haven, that this is a, 10 plus year commitment. I want to know that in the event you can't keep your pet, it's going to come back to me. I want to know that this is, heart and soul for this little life I helped bring into this world, that it's going to be a life bond. But everybody's different. And at the end of the day, how I view my dogs and how I view my program is not how everybody else does. And I cannot hold my standards to every other kennel. We all have to look at everybody else that way too. My ethics, the way I function, is not necessarily how everybody else does, and that's not necessarily right or wrong. So these are the other types of breeders, kennels out there. I went on a little tangent there, but you have your private breeders, people who breed one litter here or there. Usually those are the ones who are the most inexperienced. Sometimes those people turn into the best breeders. They wind up morphing into your best show kennels. You have your hobby breeders. This is the largest portion of breeders out there. Sometimes these are the best breeders out there. You have your specialty breeders, hunting, sporting kennels, military or purpose-bred kennels or breeders, which encompass service dog breeders, specialty animals, including working dogs. You have your professional kennels, which are your more along the lines of your show kennels, those who are in it for the sports. This also includes kennels that do the competition, titlings, awards, people who travel around the country to pursue titling awards. Then you have your commercial kennels, including your small scale and your large scale commercials. If you have any questions on those type of kennels, how they work, feel free to message me, and I will do my best to answer your questions. Thanks.